what's up, guys? This is Trillo G, Bun B, Rebel UGK for life, and Trill Burgers. I'm here with the 11-time tag team champion, 6-time world champion, H-Town hometown hero, Booker T. Booker T, how are you, my brother?
Doing grand, man.
Man, I'm so glad that you could give me your time today, man. You know, because I got questions that I've always wanted to ask, but we're typically in very informal settings, so I never felt it was appropriate to ask some of those things. But, you know, I fell in love with wrestling as a young teenager, watching it on television. Junkyard Dog, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Von Erich family. Yeah. You know, I had a very young, early entry point. When did you fall in love with wrestling, Booker?
You know, I grew up here in the city, and you know, we didn't have WWF back in the day. Only thing we had was Houston wrestling.
Right.
Never in a million years thought I could be Hacksaw Jim Duggan, a Junkyard Dog, or Butch Reed, or the Rat Pack, Ted DiBiase. I never thought that in a million years. It wasn't on my radar.
So at what point, because I got to imagine it's not your only athletic ability, right? At some point you were probably an athlete. What made you pull the trigger? I'm just guessing.
No, I laugh because I never played sports.
Huh?
I was a drum major. I was a dancer.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a dancer.
I just assumed that you're an all-around athlete, world-class athlete, and wrestling was what you chose.
You know, I love sports, but I wasn't academically inclined. And so I just didn't resonate to it. As well as I was going through a whole lot as a kid. I lost my father when I was 10 months old. I lost my mother when I was almost 14 years old. So I was trying to figure out how am I going to get from one day to the next. It became about life.
Right.
But for me, you know, somehow I figured it out.
And wrestling ended up being that path for you.
Yeah, you know, my brother, I used to follow my brother around since I was a kid. He was like my hero. And I remember we was in the same elementary school at one point, and I remember him walking me home. He used to have his hand on my neck, walking me like a dog. But it just taking care of me though. He used to, look after his little brother.
Tough love.
Yeah. And I always wanted to be like my brother, and he loved wrestling. And he found a wrestling school in 1990, Ivan Putski's wrestling school, and I had just got out of prison. I had ended up getting in trouble with some friends, and we had ended up doing a robbery, and I ended up going to prison for two years. I had a 5-year sentence. And then when I came home, I asked my brother, if he could help me. My brother told me, I can help you, but I need you to do something for me. He said, no matter what job I get you, you don't care. I don't care if it's sweeping floors. I don't care if it's wiping windows, digging ditches, whatever it is. He said, do that job to the best of your ability till something better comes along. And I said, I can do that.
Right.
And then I start getting on my feet, and the guy that he introduced me to, he sponsored me actually to go to the wrestling school after working for him for about a year and a half, and he getting trust. He trusted me. He trusted me with his, with his business to run it for him. I was there 7 days a week at some point. Sometimes I was there from 7 in the morning to 7 at night,
right.
just to, because I say I'm a criminal. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to trust me. I gotta earn that trust, and then I earned that trust. And like I said, my brother found the school, and it was $3,000 to go to the school, and it was an 8-week course. And my boss, he sponsored me to go to the school, and there again, it was something that I never did before, but it was like deja vu. It was like a place that I had been before. It seemed like it was so easy for me.
All the stuff from Paul's Place, being in the neighborhood, kind of all
just seemed like it just was there. It was in my blood.
That's amazing.
And I think the dance background helped me. I used to love movies. I used to skip school and go watch movies. And I was like, wow, And so when I got into wrestling and learned the psychology of wrestling, all of those karate movies came right back into my head. And I was like, oh, okay. It's about going out there and making it real. It's about making the fans feel something.
But we lose ourselves inside of the wrestling, and it becomes an escape for us in the same way the movies became an escape for you.
Exactly my point. I wanted my fans to feel the same way I did when I left the movie theater. And I always say those karate movies, the 5 Deadly Venoms, the Shogun Assassin,
yes.
they all made me feel a certain way when I left that theater. And I always say, if I wasn't, chopping, jumping up, if I wasn't doing that when I left the movie, it wasn't a good movie. So I said, I would always make my fans, when they leave that arena, say, man, can't wait to see Booker T again.
See, that's how I feel as an entertainer, right? Because I came up in the era where it was all about production. At my youngest, I used to see people like James Browns, of course. In my formative years, watching people like Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Prince, people who took their presentation and their performances very seriously and didn't want to let the audience down.
Yeah.
So I think about that stuff all the time whenever even to this day, I'm 30 years in as a recording artist, still performing. I got a show tomorrow, and but I always want to put my best self forward. I always want to put the best presentation of myself forward because I have no idea who's in that crowd looking at me, aspiring to be me. I could either help sell that dream to them a little bit harder or make them be like, you know what, I don't even think I want to do that if that's how it's going to be. But when did you realize not only I'm a wrestler and I'm professional, I got a good job, it's consistent, but I'm actually really good at this and I might actually have a chance to be the man at this?
I really never put it in that perspective. When I got into wrestling, I knew it was something that I was good at.
Okay.
But it was something that we as, African American, as people of color, we didn't really excel in. I saw so many come before me, and they were really, really good. And it was a reason why they didn't make it to that next level. So I studied that. So I say I'm not going to think about titles or anything. I just want to be the best in the locker room. I just want to be the best on TV. And I tell them, young wrestlers today, it's all about checks and championships, baby. It's about checks and championships. Because if you're the best, checks and championships, it just comes along with it. It's just part of it. But I remember, I think when I really felt like I got to a certain point, we used to go to McGregor Park, when we was coming up, and that was the thing on Sunday, man, every Sunday. And then I remember getting in the wrestling business, and it was a few years in, and then I still had that mentality. I still wanted to go to McGregor Park.
On Sunday? Oh, no.
So I went to McGregor Park on a Sunday, and this kid, he saw me, and he said, I want to be you one day. And I was like, man, wow. Knowing where I came from, right in that same area, growing up on those streets and, trying to clean up that mess now, all that dirt I created. I say, man, and I see a kid, and he want to be like me one day. And I was like, wow. That's when I knew I was on to something.
You're really affecting change.
Yeah, most definitely.
And that's what you want to do, right? If you're doing what you're doing at the highest level, you want to be able to be a point of inspiration for people. Somebody that they can consistently look at to and see, he never gave up. He never let his past define him. I believe you're a true testament to the spirit of never giving up. Now here's my thing, because I'm a musician, right?
Yeah.
I know in sports locker rooms, there's always that music that people play to get them pumped up. Mm-hmm. I've never been able to ask this question. What are wrestlers playing in the locker room, and what would you play in the locker room?
I'm playing Pac all day long. When I first, back in the day, I always wear a suit and tie all the time. You never saw me without a suit and tie.
Right.
And my wife, she thought I was like a corporate nerd or something, right? That was before we was married, and she saw me roll up one day, and I was listening to Tupac, and she was like, "What's going on here? Who's this guy?" But for me, I always had to go back to where I came from. I always had to stay in that zone, but I always had to know how to change my levels at the same time.
Of course.
I tell young people, you got to always know how to change your levels, because you could find yourself, saying the wrong thing in the wrong place at the wrong time. So for me, I always let that motivate me, but at the same time, I knew exactly what I was trying to create, just like the music that I come out to, my theme music. It's been my theme music for over 30 years now. And that theme music, it resonates with everybody in the audience. I said I couldn't just listen to Tupac and make everybody understand the experience of Booker T. I had to have a music that made everybody say, "Oh, it's Booker T."
Yes.
He was not a black guy. He was not a white guy. He was Booker T.
Hey, look, every hero needs his theme song.
Exactly my point. So my theme song, it definitely, it resonates. But that Tupac, that stand through my rear view, stuff like that, always made me think about where I came from and where I'm trying to go.
Now, Booker, you've wrestled literally all over the world.
Yeah.
What's it like to wrestle at home? What was it like coming home, being on that big stage back in Houston?
In your city, you never win. You never win, and it just never happens. I don't know what it is. Even when my first pay-per-view in WCW, way back in 1993, was here in Houston, War Games, and I went out there and got the hell beat up.
That's crazy though, because I imagine if you're the heel, then it all works out, right? Because the crowd gets to see the hero beat up on the heel.
Yeah,
but if you're the good guy and you lose, your storyline got to continue in a whole other city.
Nah, but working in your city is nothing. I did have one great moment though when I was King Booker. They presented me with the key to the city. It was a great moment. Yeah. To have the key to the city, to be recognized, and where I grew up here. I grew up right in South Park. Yates High School, Hartman Junior High. And for something like that to happen to me, I got my own day,
that's a big
Booker T day. I'm like, why the hell that happened? But for me, it's just about putting the work in. I'm still working. I'm like Nipsey Hussle, man, grinding all my life.
Yes.
Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price.
Hey, the marathon continues.
Gotta roll the dice. You know what I mean? So that's the way I am. I'm always working. I don't even think about the past a whole lot as far as the accolades. I don't go back and watch my own matches or anything because I still feel like it's so much work still yet to be done. And I feel like I just asked God. I said, God, just please give me enough time to finish my work.
Yes.
Because I have a wrestling school, I have a wrestling promotion, and I work with so many kids. And the thing is, I used to be one of those kids, and I know I wasn't a dumb kid. I really wasn't. All I needed was somebody to pat me on the back and tell me I could do it.
Right.
Or tell me, nah, man, you don't need to be. I didn't have that. I had to teach myself, all those lessons. But I know, from working with kids, all they need sometimes is a pat on the back. Sometimes they don't even know what they can do until you tell them, hey, try this.
Till they're encouraged.
Oh, man, so for me to be in the position that I am right now and able to give back, I don't even know why I do it. Maybe, like I say, because I was one of those kids who wanted that and needed that. And now I'm in a position to give that. And, I can't take it with me. I might as well give it back.
Well, I have to say, as a fan as well as a friend, man, thank you for not just what you've done and what you're doing, but what I know you're going to continue to do. You inspire people that you may probably never even meet. See, people are going to watch this video and I think get a whole other side of who Booker T is. They may just know the wrestling side. Thank you for being so open and honest with us, man.
Man, my book, From Prison to Promise, man, I wrote that for a reason. Just so people would know that I'm not just the person that they see on television.
From Prison to Promise. Amazing words. Thank you, Booker T.
No doubt. Appreciate you, bro.
Oh, man. I appreciate you. So does Jae'Sean, baby.